too. Every time.
Every time.
It's our thing. It's a tradition at this point.
Yeah, what's popping up there?
Oh, live recording. I forgot. No pressure.
But we're
Kinds
live
of
on
things.
YouTube.
I'm fine. Don't tell. Just kidding. I don't know. She's coming. She'll pop in, which that might mess us up. So we might have to scooch in to get close. Get a little closer. Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna text her. Oh, she's on. Never mind. I won't text her. Hello.
Hi.
Are you there?
I am.
We can't see you. Are you hiding?
I'm hiding.
Oh, there she is. I gotta get. Now I gotta read. This is what I do all the time. Portrait. Oh, we can. How do I? Okay. So we're just figuring this out. So there's a way we can change it to be on horizon orientation. Are you there still?
I'm still here, just watching you figure it out.
This might be too much for me.
Might be where it all falls apart.
Yeah, we might just crunch in together. Why did it ask me that when I just don't know? All right, let's go down here. So anyway, how are you?
I'm good. Just trying to see if I can figure it out for you.
No, I think it's the studio.
If you switch like your phone, will it switch like when you're on like camera mode?
I don't, maybe. Oh, no, it's on this side. It is just me not knowing how to do it. Well, I wish it gave me the option. So it was like, you're on portrait mode. Okay, heads up. Yes, chat with support. I'm going to chat with support. Good night. Hi. Bye. Hi and bye. People. I'm just reading. Don't mind me. I have glasses and they don't work. Just kidding. Quick. How about quick settings then? Might work. Nope. That's not going to work. All right.
Square. They don't work, she says.
It's just, this is how I roll. And I'm going to go back to this. FaceTime camera, learn more, default, blah, blah, blah. If I scroll mirror video, no, we don't want to do that. Echo cancellation, yes, we want to do that. Advanced live stream. General. Studio info. Nope, we don't need that. One moment, please. I'll have to figure it out later. All right, you ready? You guys ready to scrunch in?
Yep.
We're just going to scrunch in.
We're gonna
Get cozy.
All right. Are you in? You know what else I can do? I can do that. And then I'll come right up close and personal. Okay. So, whew, that was a lot.
Stressful. We lost Mandy.
Oh no.
Hold on.
I can hear you.
You didn't lose me. I'm trying to get my Wi-Fi to turn on so it loads better. Or it doesn't want to.
We could just do the whole video, like trying to find the best locations and just kidding. All right. So, the short version. So we'll start with Esmeralda and then we'll go to you, Mandy, because we'll talk about the studio and all that stuff too. But so you told us just the other week, you can share as much detail or condense it down, your yoga story.
Okay.
And your name.
My name.
Yes.
I'm Esmeralda, and I just did my yoga teacher training through Lunar Yoga with Mandy, and I got to come to Rachel's amazing classes on the weekends. And yoga came to me. It knocked on my door, and it said, "Hello, I need to come through. It started through a mindfulness practice. So I'll rewind a little bit more. I'm a preschool teacher, and in Forsyth County, we practice mindfulness. And so Ashley took me through the mindfulness training, and I just thought, wow, those 3 days of breathing, meditation, movement, the educational side of it, like, completely changed my perspective on things. In the past, I've been somebody who struggles just with like my own self-confidence and irritability, I guess is the term for it. I tend to carry a lot on my plate, and I tend to give too much sometimes. And then I ended up being very, 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 very drained. I couldn't give anymore. I was fed up, and yoga just really helped me change my perspective. Like, I don't even know how to explain the like life-changing alteration that it does to you. There's just so many different aspects that go into it. I mean, we built a community with the girls that were in the group. Now I have a fun little extra career out of it, and I don't know, I wake up, I'm happier, I feel stronger, I feel healthier, I feel more clear in my thinking, if that makes any sense at all. Like, it just really, like, I don't know, I just feel much more connected with my spirituality, with my beliefs. My confidence is so much higher. It totally gave my life a whole 360. Like, I don't even know how to like describe it. Like, I'm just rambling, but there's absolutely no word to describe the like transformation and how it just happens. It's like one of those things that like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't force him to drink. And that's how yoga was for me. I could not do yoga. I could not do meditation. Every now and then it's still hard to sit still, but I am working on it, and I've grown so much in it. And here we are today. I'm learning still to balance work and life, but I can handle my emotions a lot better. I've learned that I can control what I do. I can't control others, but I can control how I react to things. And that's made a huge difference in my life. And yeah, that's how it's been for me. Life changing.
That's awesome.
That is
And
life changing. Yeah.
you said you were rambling, and I don't think you were. Like, I heard very clearly you're human,
Yeah.
and you were struggling with the human condition, and then you did this beautiful training that gave you tools
Yes.
to help you deal with the
Yes.
human condition.
Yes, it did. And I'm forever grateful for it. Like, it's an investment in myself, and I know the other ladies feel the exact same way. And I wouldn't have traded it for anything. It came at the right time.
That's
It came
awesome.
at the right time. Yeah.
I love that for you.
Thank you.
I think
And-
that's
Yeah.
I think that's like a theme, because I know a lot of people, and myself included, like when I did my teacher training, I was at a very, very hard time in my life. And like I really didn't have extra time to be doing a teacher training, but I figured it out and I made it work, and it helped me kind of put the pieces back together.
Yeah, I feel like that's how it continues to be. Like, now, instead of me feeling stressed or rushed or overwhelmed or bombarded, it's one thing at a time, one day at a time. Maybe what's the most important thing on this to-do list? If something can wait till tomorrow, it'll wait till tomorrow, and I'm not thinking about it anymore. It's really been finding the time and the space of when and how to carry all of the extra stuff.
Congratulations. That's huge.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, I used to do well on things a lot, like conversations, and I would just play them over and over and over and over and over again in my head, situations, and oh, I should have said this instead, or why did I freeze? And I don't know. It's
a practice.
It's a practice. I've learned to, it is what it is. I can control my emotions and my actions. And I love the phrase, what's meant for you will never pass you by. And I live by that.
Wonderful.
And speaking of yoga teacher training, we have your yoga teacher on with us right now, owner of Lunar
How
Yoga.
convenient is that?
So Mandy, so tell us first, as fast or slow as you want to go on your yoga story first, and then how you acquired this lovely studio that we're sitting in.
So yeah, yoga has been a very long journey for me. I first found it in college because one of my landlords was into breath work, and I at the time was suffering from some seizures that were I couldn't figure out why they were happening, and she's like, I really think you could benefit from yoga and like the practice of breath work. So I was like, all right, I'll try it. At that point, I was going through a lot and figured, why not? I had no idea. The only thing I had ever even thought of yoga was like seeing very flexible people do like dancer pose. And I was like, sure, you know what? Like, it's not going to hurt to just check it out. And for a few years, it was kind of on and off, like finding the practice more so for the physical aspect. In all honesty, in my body, I loved the work, the quote unquote workout before I really understood what the practice was. And then I just probably 6 or 7 years in, it was more about me showing up to classes. I was doing heated power flow style classes, and I was getting something from it. I just didn't understand what I was getting. And then when I had moved to Georgia about 6 years ago, my husband and I were doing huge career shifts, and I was leaving the accounting world and decided this is it. Like, this is my chance to go and do a teacher training. And at the time, the accounting job I had taken, they had offered to pay for me to go to Costa Rica and do my teacher training. So I said, the universe provides. Like, it always puts something on your path that it's telling you, here is the chance. Like, this is now. So I did it. And I went more so just to figure out myself. I didn't go thinking I wanted to teach yoga at all. I just wanted to understand the kind of chaos in my brain. And so I went and I did it. And it's crazy now to even think about it. But when I first did my teacher training, I couldn't talk in front of a group of people. Like, it was terrifying to me. I have this, we all have our deep-seated stuff, and one of mine is I'm not good enough, or I'm not enough. Whatever I provide or what I say doesn't have merit, it doesn't matter. So for me, it was finding my voice. And I definitely left that training finding my voice. And what was beautiful about it is I came right home and started teaching the next week, which might have been a little fast, a little crazy now that I look back. But yeah, so from there, it just shifted my life. Like, I didn't want to be 9 to 5 job. I wanted to keep giving and being able to receive from teaching yoga. There's such a beautiful dance of give and take and receive all at once. It's like, you're showing up for people who need something. They're all coming for different reasons, and you are able to provide them that space. And in turn, like, it feels great. So, teaching just kind of felt right for me. And it's been a few years up and down between like working another job and having yoga as like a part-time thing. And again, like, the universe just kind of puts it in your face, like almost so much so that you can't say no to it. And I think that it shifted gears from saying no to things and just saying yes, and not blindly saying yes, but understanding that like these options get put to you because it's time. Something in the world, the universe, your friendships, your relationships is saying it's time to try this other road. And you could say no to it and continue down the same road, and maybe that's fine. But when you go off and you're like, oh my God, I would have never chose this, but it presented itself. And that's exactly what happened for me at the studio. I was teaching at the studio. I had started teaching it when it was Yoga Sila, when Rebecca and Taylor owned it. And then COVID happened, so there were some shifts. And then Tiffany owned it. And, it was just like, hey, do you want to buy the studio? we were thinking about moving at that moment. Like it was such a bizarre shift. And I don't know, my husband and I talked about it, and he's like, well, you have nothing to lose. So I said, okay. And here we are, and jumped right in. And I have not a single regret.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so I don't know.
So how did you go from being a studio owner to hosting a teacher training?
Well, in my classes, I mean, you know, you guys are some of my students sometimes. I love to teach. Like, I know that sounds like ironic. Like, yeah, I know you're teaching yoga, but I love to really help people understand the why in asana, especially on not just like, yeah, I did this movement and I feel great. I want people to understand what their bodies are doing. So it becomes more to them than just showing up knowing you feel good after an hour of that, whatever that class is. So that's kind of where my desire to want to do a teacher training. And then, you know, as a business owner, the financial aspects of it are huge, because studio classes don't necessarily bring in extra money. They help pay the bills, but teacher trainings, they're expensive. It's a huge investment for the people taking it, time wise for the facilitator, and time wise for the people taking it, and then financially for the people taking the trainings. But I love to teach. And, you know, this is where we've just started my second teacher training. And the first one was terrifying. You know, I'm sure Esmeralda felt nervous and scared for the first couple sessions that we did with teacher training, and everyone does who doesn't. And I was just as scared. So it was this really beautiful journey. And I was very, very lucky to have 6 women who came to the training and were so supportive, not only for each other, but for myself as well as a new facilitator of teacher training.
That's awesome.
I don't know if that really answered your question, or if I just kind of went on a rant.
You told the story. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, I think honestly, like, she rocked it. Like, I didn't know that was like your first solo group, you know, like your first teaching experience for YTT or like by yourself and all that. Like, you always appeared very confident to us. I think we learned a lot from you, gained a lot of confidence from you. And yeah, it's interesting how inside of our heads we played like these stories to ourselves, right? Like, oh, I'm so scared, I'm so nervous, and like it's like nobody around you knows.
Yep. Yeah.
You know? It's just cool. And I think also, like, once you really understand yoga and like the journey it's taking you on, it kind of is a workout, but like it's a spiritual workout. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
A never-ending spiritual workout.
I know.
Yeah, I don't think people realize that. You know, you come to yoga and you learn something in that one class or whatever it might be, like your breath. And then maybe, you know, when you're driving in your car one day and you're frustrated because you're stuck in traffic, it's like magic. And then you're like, I'm going to do that.
Magic.
I'm going to do that breathing that I did in yoga. And then there it is. They're practicing off their mat now.
I think you're right. Magic is the word. I feel as if, like, if not everyone, I know there are many people who do a 200 and are completely good with that, but when you really find the practice, you're always wanting to understand more. It's all the whole practice, all of the limbs of yoga, not even just the asana. It's about awareness and starting to understand. And like, in this crazy thing we called life, like, there's so much to want to understand. So we are always a seeker and an observer.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if everybody in the world just kind of like opened themselves to that journey?
I think about
It'd be
that a
such
lot.
a great place.
I feel like the world would just be
Want
like
it.
vibrating, like
We'd all love each other.
green, and everything would be beautiful.
Yeah.
Right. But also, though, like, you know, we talk about yoga in think that love, light, brightness. And sometimes the reality is like in yoga studios and yoga communities, it's not always that way. There is still this I don't know what
We're
word I'm
all
looking
still
for.
humans, right? Doing human things
Yeah.
to each other.
Humans doing human things, yes. And like there's always moments where you're just like, how could this happen in a yoga community? Like how could people be so nasty? And it still happens. But we can only just choose our one step at a time and do what we can to make the space better.
Yeah. Sure.
And it's everywhere, right? How can bad
Yeah.
things happen in churches? How can bad things happen in schools? How, you know, like anywhere there are humans, we make bad choices.
So much. And I'm like, if I do, and I'm like, karma's coming to get me. Karma's coming to get me.
Finally catching up.
Good.
Kundalini. So
Yeah.
because I'm gonna get this put up this week and hopefully share everywhere. So the Kundalini workshop that's happening this coming weekend, starting, what is it, the 20th to the 22nd or the 21st and 22nd?
It's Friday, whatever
Okay.
the date of Friday is.
Okay.
20th to the 22nd.
Okay. So, and who's teaching it?
It's Akasha Cersei.
Okay.
So Akasha was my original teacher, well, my 300-hour teacher in North Georgia. She used to own a yoga studio in Dahlonega, and she is truly like a magical being. The amount of wisdom and depth that she is able to share in her teachings is just extraordinary. So the Kundalini training, Kundalini is a different style of yoga than most people are used to. And people tend to be a little nervous and fearful of the practice because it can be very intense. I'm not going to go into much about what the Kundalini practice is because I'm also still learning. But there's a lot of mantra, a lot of breath work, and it is truly seeking enlightenment and self, like finding like the divine within yourself to be able to radiate out that same light. So I'm very excited for her to come into the studio. I'm excited for maybe a different, style of yoga to maybe to like awaken some of the people that are seeking something and they might not even know what they're seeking. But even just for we did the Friday night event a couple weeks ago, and it was such a beautiful turnout, and I think that people really got something from it. So I'm excited to do a weekend long training and have like just a container of a handful of individuals all looking to understand more.
I like it.
I think it'll be really cool. I won't be able to make it to this weekend, maybe in the future, but I did my first Kundalini practice when Akasha came here to the studio a couple weeks ago, right? And
Yeah.
it was really cool. I feel like as I continue to seek it and practice it, I'll gain more and more from it. For a first time, like it truly made you feel euphoric, maybe like you just feel something like, I don't know, outer worldly, if that makes sense.
Okay.
I actually came in that day with like sinus, like my nostrils were just like shut. And I was like, great, like I'm not gonna get anything out of this because I can't even breathe properly right now. And I came anyways, and kid you not, I walked out with like my sinuses like completely like cleared. I could breathe again.
Oh wow.
No stuffy nose, no boogers, no nothing. Like I was just like, oh my gosh, I can breathe for the first time in like 5 days.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so it was really cool. Yeah.
And you'll be able to teach or lead, I guess. I don't even know. Do you call it teaching or is it more of a leading? So will you have a class? Are you going to have a class on the schedule?
So
once you go through your training.
As a Yoga Alliance certified teacher, I think that she's giving us the tools to be able to teach a class.
Okay.
I don't know if it's in depth enough to have that as like a regularly scheduled class because there's so much to the Kundalini practice. I'm currently also taking a 300-hour training in Kundalini as well. So eventually there will be a more regularly scheduled class for Kundalini. But this isn't out on the website or the schedule yet, but we are setting some dates for her to come back in November and December to do the same version of, like, not the exact same, but like a Kundalini sound experience like she did in the last, yeah. So it'll be just a hour and a half workshop style Kundalini practice with the sound experience at the end.
Cool. All right. So circling back. So once you finish your 300-hour and all that stuff, are you able to then do a little, when you're doing teacher training, can you incorporate that in if you want to, or would that be like a little extra something, or would you have to take more training for that?
So for the 300, for me, I would be able to teach that. I would not put that in a 200-hour training.
Right.
It's just too much. A 200-hour training is really giving them the tools to understand the 8 limbs of yoga, to understand teaching a physical class, and, you know, like the handful of things that you can fit in 200 hours. 200 hours is just such a short amount of time for any kind of training. Like, it's still crazy to me to think that we are like, yeah, take 200 hours and then you can go teach hundreds of bodies to move. And the reality of it is that with 200 hours, we barely know anything, but we're expected to know everything.
Yeah, I feel like also it's just like the way that you talk about Kundalini, like I'm new to it, but listening to you talk about it, like I know I probably, if I were to do the weekend training, I wouldn't be prepared to like lead it or like have a workshop or teach it, because I feel like that is like a whole nother like level of like a spiritual connect. Like you got to really understand, like you said, like you really got to understand what it does for you and why you want to bring it out to others, and not just be like, oh, a workshop that I can make money off of. Like you got to truly understand what you're doing and offering to everybody. Like you know, like have like that soul passion to
like spend a little time getting all the getting in the nooks and crannies.
Well, and I completely agree. Like what you're saying with Kundalini, it's such a deep practice. It is awakening energy. So there are some pretty heavy and intense breathwork practices that are incorporated regularly in there. And you really need to know what you're teaching and leading to make sure everyone is safe in the practice. And to be able to teach it.
Akasha tells the story about the first time she took a class, she passed out, right? Because the breathing is so intense.
The pitta is just overdoing it.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think that after her weekend training, and I shouldn't say it this way. Let me rephrase. I don't think after the weekend training, I either would feel comfortable leading classes regularly in it. I think that to truly lead Kundalini, it takes years of training. It takes more advanced training than just one weekend. I think that the weekend training more facilitates a deeper awareness to personal awakening.
Yeah. Agreed. Cool. And maybe you learn a few things that you could infuse into your current classes.
Yeah.
Little taste. See what it tastes like.
Taste.
Yeah.
So back to the 200-hour training that you have going. You have one going on right now. So when they start, how soon are they not teaching classes, obviously, to people, but to each other? Like, are you doing it like right away, or are you learning a lot of the philosophy? Okay.
So the way that I structure the 200-hour training is to jump in heavy into asana at the beginning. So weekend 1, they learn the Surya Namaskara A and B, and they are peer teaching right away. Even if they're just using their notebooks to follow, they are learning asana heavy at the beginning. So when we get to the halfway mark of training, they are comfortable with teaching, and we can dive deeper into the anatomy, the purpose of why the structures are happening in classes, and then getting deeper into more of the personal stuff and some more of the meditation, and gives them, I feel it creates space for them to understand what they're teaching versus parroting a sequence. If that makes sense.
That does.
It
Yeah.
does.
That's awesome. And so when did you start to feel like, or do you, yes, or do you feel like you can, I mean, you look like you were saying before, like to me from the outside, it looks like
Yeah.
you're just like, let me teach this class.
Yeah.
But are you still like, oh?
Honestly, I feel 98% fully ready. I think the 2% is like me just being in my head. But like, for example, like I just taught a new sequence today, like a new class that I gathered bits and pieces from like things that I've seen, that I've liked. I did it myself so that I could make sure that I could do it, that it felt okay for me. And if it didn't, what else could I like tweak with it? And I don't know, I was just kind of able to throw it together. I'm also, maybe because I'm a teacher every day,
You're trained to be able
I
to
can
do
kind
that.
of literally just, if something's not working out,
Okay.
turn the
that's good.
page, turn the gear. But during the teacher training, like I was very like nervous. I was like, oh my gosh, what if it's not long enough? What if it's too long? What if I forget something? What if I say something wrong? And again, like through the self journey, I've learned to just let it go. Because why make a big deal out of it? Like, oh no, I said the wrong thing. Just kidding, guys. Turn the other way, giggle a little, because I feel like it's only a big deal if we make it a big deal. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I enjoyed today's class. I had a lot of fun. They seemed very happy when they
They
left.
did.
Yeah. So I'm happy they trusted me.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love when teacher trainee graduates come out and they like get right into it. It's awesome because you have it, like you've taught it,
Mhm.
to each other and then in your group class. So
Yeah, I think it's just a sense of like literally like how Mandy says, like just needing to jump right into it.
yeah.
Like some A's and some B's go with each other. And okay, now practice by yourself and practice, like lead that practice for somebody at home so you can, or record yourself, like just go out and do it. And I don't know. It's one of those things I can't sit there and think too much about it.
Yeah.
Either it works out and I do it, or it doesn't work out and I don't do it.
Well, and that's the crazy thing is like doing teacher training, leading one and having people from the beginning to the end of their journey when it comes to, well, the beginning and the end of 200 hours of their journey. It's so beautiful to watch because when you start with a group of people, you kind of, and you have a feeling based off, like right away, you can kind of tell who's really into wanting to teach, who's like, man, I'm just here for like this, that, or the other thing. And to see people shift to really feel like I came here for personal reasons. I want nothing to do with teaching. And then all of a sudden a couple months have gone by and like they start to shift. And like I feel like for you, Esmeralda, like you were like my wild card of the group. You were the one that we were like, I don't really like yoga, but I really like the mindfulness stuff. So I'm like, here. And you're like, bam, here I am. I am teaching. I'm doing this. I feel like you had a very, some people's shift is very gradual. Yours was like, you started in one point and it was just like a beautiful transition into like, yes, I'm going to teach yoga.
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty terrified. Like, there were some days where, like, I don't know, like, now we have like these beautiful friendships, but like at first I was like, does Mandy like me? I was like, do these girls think like I'm weird? Like, am I too quiet? Should I have said that? I probably should not have said that. And I was just like, I'm here. I don't care. This is me. Take it or leave it. But no, it was really good. But no, I think,
That's what people show up for.
yeah.
Yeah. And how soon did you feel like, coming in here, you're in a safe space, but like with those girls being so intimate for that long of a period of time, like when did you feel like you could just be exactly, not guarded
Yeah.
or anything?
Probably after the second month, because
Okay.
the first weekend everybody's really shy, everybody's really nervous. But then like the second weekend, some of us like went to grab a little bite up during lunch, and we just kind of got to know each other a little bit. And then by the third weekend, everybody's like cheering each other on, and like you did so great, and laughing with each other. And we're also in here for like 8 hours,
Yeah.
so by 4 p.m. everybody's a little delusional and just laughing and having fun too. But all good stuff for sure. Yeah. And I think, I don't know, it sounded like the groups are kind of formed. It's just funny the way it happens, but like people with like energies gravitate towards each other without knowing.
Mhm.
And I feel like we all came in very like ready for some sort of like spiritual mind body change, or going through shifts in life, and everybody was so caring and so sweet. Like everybody had like such like motherly, sisterly vibes to each other, and it was sweet. So yeah, it was definitely easy to latch on to each other.
I love it.
The end was not fun.
Aww.
We all still miss it. It just helps so much. Like it really, really, every single weekend was like not a regret. Like I didn't mind if I was like missing out on X, Y, and Z. Like I always wanted to be here. I always wanted to make sure that I could be here. Like it was good. It was something to look forward to. And now I miss it.
I've heard that sentiment from
I also think
people from the training
Mhm.
that you guys just really miss it.
Yeah. Yeah, we do. I don't know. It's just like those long weekends are just so needed. Like it was educational, but it was so comforting and eye-opening. Like it was just so good for the soul. So good. Yeah.
I feel
You
like
need to
there's
have
such like a
reunion.
rawness. What was
I
that?
think I said you need to have a reunion.
Yeah. We're
For the
getting
OG.
together in October to do a little weekend.
Yes. Yeah, we're excited.
Yeah, I feel like for the weekends there's such a rawness to it. Like you are just like your nitty-gritty, like no one's showing up with their hair done or makeup, and you're just emotionally exposed because they're long days. It's Saturday and Sunday, like 8 hours each day, 9 if you include the lunch, but it's just like you get to a point where like you can't hold back what's really there. You just get to a point where you're like, okay, I'm crying. I don't know why I'm crying, but it's such a small knit group that there's such a support system within it that it never feels judged. It feels supported, and even just being able to like be a part of it, not even just as the facilitator, but as like one of the women in the group. There are days where we come in and it's like, today is just rough, and we would talk it out. And like having such small groups is so nice because the training not only can be facilitated to what each individual is looking for, but it created that safe container for us to be vulnerable beyond just learning how to do yoga, but emotionally what was going on in our lives. And as Esmeralda said, like people are seeking each other, and to do a 200-hour training with people you don't know, you have to be ready for something more, some kind of connection, because that is what we're seeking in those moments. It's more than just learning how to teach a physical.
It's about connection.
Yeah. Speaking of
connection.
You're breaking up a little bit.
Oh, it's funny because when I was outside, it was fine.
Yeah.
Well, and it'll like buffer for, I mean, yeah.
Like right now, you're good. This is probably
Oh,
you are
dang it.
good.
No, I just went out. I'm going to try to turn. I mean, you to me the whole time, so I just thought that was the norm. Is this worse? Nope, not better. Not better.
Your connection looked better a second ago, but then you took your camera off.
She's like,
Maybe.
could be.
I don't know.
Well, we'll wrap it up just in case it's like going to keep freezing. So all in all, it's a great journey.
Mhm.
You gather all these new friends that that wasn't even part of, like, you didn't go in thinking, oh, I'm gonna meet new friends. You went in like, what's gonna happen to me in this journey?
Yeah. It just goes to show like how much a support system is needed in life and connections. You know, we might not be able to see each other all the time, but the moments shared together just will go a long way.
You'll always have that.
Mm-hmm.
And Mandy, what else would you want to tell people that they need to go and take this training at some point in their life?
I mean, honestly, I truly think not necessarily my training, maybe a training, and if in person makes a difference, everyone should do a yoga training. I mean, even if you don't want to teach yoga, the amount of awareness you gain from it, just from your own personal self, is so deep, and starting to find tools to help deal with real life situations. Like, the thing is, like, the funniest thing that I ever hear, I'll try not to be too long-winded because we know I can go sidetracked real easy, is A, I'm not flexible, I can't do yoga. That we won't even go down that road. That's number one. And then B, is the idea that everyone that teaches and does yoga is the happiest, healthiest, lightest person in the world. But it's like, no, we all have stuff and we are all just trying to get through it and not be a crazy person. And yoga gives us the tools to find some kind of peace in the chaos that comes up day to day. So yeah, everyone should go do a teacher training. I enjoy mine because, you know, well, I'm in it. But it just, the in-person ones just give you so much more. It's more than just learning the book stuff. It's learning connection with real humans who are also going through things and learning to support each other in a healthy way. And then to know you have the support too.
Amen.
Well, I'm going to put all the information in the show notes on the studio and all that stuff. I know you just started, but I don't know if you're taking any late students, but if somebody wants to join in, I don't know if it's too late or not, but we'll just throw it on there and you can decide if someone calls.
Okay.
But one of my 5 listeners that we have is they'll call.
5 today, 10 tomorrow.
Maybe, hopefully, that would be yes. All right. Well, thank you for coming
guys for joining us.
And in your ending of your evening. I'm saying this like, I don't know if you guys go to bed at 9, but I do.
It's bedtime.
Yeah, I sure do. I'm already in my
on this
cozy.
late evening, thank you for showing up to be on our famous podcast. So,
Yay.
but and then I'll see you at some point. Point at the studio.
Good night, everybody.
Nice.
Good night, ladies. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Let's see if I can turn this off now. That's the other.